So today's class, we're actually going to focus on our side body. And why is that important? Because we tend to feel very stuck in here. And when we're stuck in this area of our body, like in our rib cage area, it affects everything else. So it affects our breath, it affects our upper body, it affects the back body, it affects our way to actually move, and it even affects the way that we sit as well. Um, and in traditional Chinese medicine, the side body is actually related to our gallbladder. And the gallbladder can present some interesting challenges. So when the gallbladder meridian line is often blocked, the side body gets really tight. And some of the reasons why that area can get really blocked is when we are frustrated or we are having difficulty with the ability to change and adapt with our life and our situations that are around us. And so today we're going to work at clearing that stuff. So all that you need for your practice is, if you have a couple of blocks, bring a couple of blocks with you. If you don't have blocks, you can also use rolled up towels, or you can use pillows, or even like cushions from your couch or from your bed. We will need to have some access to the feet. So you might want to have some socks close by, but you will need to be able to play with your feet for just a few minutes. And then you're more than welcome to cover your feet up after that. Okay. So we're going to start our practice actually just sitting in a meditative position. So you could be sitting up on a block in Seiza style like I am. You could be sitting cross-legged if that feels better. I definitely recommend sitting up on something. So whether that's a block or a stack of cushions or blankets, just so that you can keep the spine long, but also think about the lengthening through this area here. Like when this is tight, it often feels like you're walking around with a corset, like just like jammed in there. And, you know, even bringing your hands on here and trying to take a deep breath can often be like quite challenging. So we're going to look at really opening this up. And at the end of class, we're actually just going to check back in and see how this area feels. Okay. All right. So by just sitting up nice and tall, you can rest your hands onto your lap. Maybe palms are down, or palms could be faced up, whatever feels more comfortable on your shoulders. And then just gently draw the navel to the spine just a little bit so that it helps stabilize your back body and helps you to sit up nice and tall. Roll the shoulders down away from the ears. Eyes are closed. And without actually trying to change your breath, I invite you to notice it. So start to notice where your breath is actually going in your body. And begin to notice where you feel like your breath might be either getting stuck, or maybe where it's just feeling a little congested, like it's trying to get up higher, but then you feel like you have to force it, which I don't want you to do. So just let the breath go. And take a few moments. This is sort of like our time to arrival here, to step on to the mat, to step away from everything else, and to start to notice what our body is showing us. Well, I'm a true believer in the body is constantly communicating with us, always trying to find ways to tell us what's happening. And it's whether we are paying attention or pausing in a moment to actually observe, that we figure out, wow, this is actually tight, or this is blocked, or I'm feeling this way, or this particular thing is happening. And when we're constantly going all the time, I just really don't have that opportunity to check in. Now, staying just as you are in your shape, you're just going to bring your hands onto your ribs. So your fingers are going to face forward right underneath your rib cage, and your thumbs are going to face back towards your kidneys. And then your elbows are kind of out to the sides here. Now, I just want you to breathe normally like you were before. And just noticing what's happening with your hands as you breathe. Notice how much expansion or lack thereof. Notice whether the breath gets stuck in that section or it even goes there. And again, you're not trying to manipulate the breath. You're not trying to force it. This is just a moment to observe, just to see where you are feeling things. You know, I often say we cannot change what we are not aware of. You take one more breath. And then just let the hands relax here. And then slowly open the eyes. And you're going to come to a position where you can have your feet out in front of you. So if you again want to just sit up on what you're at, but then you want to be able to access your toes. The only toe that we're looking to work with is the fourth toe. Okay. So this is where the gallbladder meridian line starts in our body, is in that foot, okay, in that toe. So we're going to place our index fingers right at the tip of our fourth toe, where you're on the lateral side towards the baby toe, okay? So you're not going towards the third toe, you're going towards that baby toe. So you're on that side of the fourth toe. And your hands can either be inside your legs or they can be out. If you found the point comfortable and you want to just maybe take your knees out into a butterfly position, you can do that as well. But you're going to start to make some really small circles with your finger right on that point. So again, it's right at the edge of your fourth toe towards the fifth toe, towards your baby toe. So it's like, I'll stick my foot up in the air so you can see. This is kind of hard to do, but anyway. So this is my fourth toe. I'm right at the edge, right at the base there, right at the tip. Okay. And all we're doing with this point is just activating and stimulating the meridian line, so that when we go into these postures that work with the side body, it's like we've already kind of opened up the channel, okay? Kind of getting the tap flowing. So just notice if you feel anything here. Like my toes are freezing right now, so I know that my energy is a little bit off. Sometimes you can feel a bit of like a tingling sensation or a warmth or even like a throbbing sensation. Now, you're going to stop and just keep the fingers pressing on the edge of your fourth toe there. And then just take a couple of rounds of breath in and out through the nose. And then you can slowly release your fingers. So from that point, the meridian line travels up through the top of the foot, runs all the way through the outside of the legs, all the way up through the side body, goes up and then down the back body on either side of the spine, wraps around and ends up actually in your gallbladder, which is on the right side there, right in where your liver is. Okay, so that's the lines that we're traveling. We're going to start in our first shape. We're going to come into banana asana, also known as banana pose. So I like to have something to place my head on. So whether you want to have a cushion or if you want to use a block or even like a towel, you're going to come down onto your back and outstretch your legs straight out to the bottom here. And before we actually move here, just draw your shoulder blades apart so that your upper back is really quite flat. And this is just to make sure that, you know, that gallbladder meridian line is nice and open. Then we're going to start to walk the feet over towards the right corner of our mat. Now you can cross the left foot over the right if that feels good, or you can just have the feet side by side. They can even be a little bit parted, especially if you're feeling really tight through the side of the body. And then you're going to take your upper body and take it up and over to the right side as well. So you're making kind of like a banana or a crescent type moon shape. And your arms can come out in a goal post position. They can come up over the head, just as long as your elbows and the backs of your palms are grounded. Okay, so nothing is floating in the air. Sometimes it's nice to put the blocks underneath the elbows. That can feel good as well. You can also just outstretch your arms straight from your shoulders, especially if you have any shoulder issues, or even drape them down by your sides. And then allowing maybe your head to tilt to one direction if that feels good on the neck. And right away, you can start to feel that activation through the left side of your body. So you can start to feel the stretch. That meridian line is now being stimulated. And through the right side, we're feeling just a little bit of compression there between the armpit to the hip, and that's okay. Now imagine that your rib cage is like an accordion. So you're going to breathe deeply as it feels comfortable for you, with an intention of expanding out through the sides of your body. Just like you'd be playing an accordion, expanding out and contracting in. At any point, if things start to feel like it's too much sensation, feel free to just back out a little bit. You want the rhythm of breath to be at ease, smooth. And if visualization works for you, I often like to visualize a garden hose running up through the side of my body. And wherever I feel tension or restriction, or I just feel a little pocket that is tight, I can imagine like that is a knot or like a kink in a garden hose. And then I breathe into it with my awareness. And I can start to feel that tightness releasing, just like a kink in a garden hose would be unraveling. Just making sure everything stays relaxed here and you're quite anchored and heavy through that left side of your body. I have about 5 more breaths here. Just taking these at your own pace. starting to notice how things are feeling through the right side, that compressed side. Can you find a way to lengthen out the breath so that you're feeling just a little less compression in the right and a little more softening and opening through the left? And then on your next inhale, you're going to walk your hands back down towards your hips. Very slowly start to bring your upper body back towards the center of your mat, and then release the legs and take your feet wide, just like, a starfish. So the feet towards the outer edges of the mat. Draw your shoulder blades apart again. Just take a couple of breaths, maybe even placing your hands onto your lower ribs and noticing even the most subtle of sensation. Sometimes you'll feel like a little wave, like a rush of that blood just kind of recirculating and moving back in through the organs. That's a really important thing, because that is what helps to bring balance back into the organs, but also into the energetic body as well. Okay, let's head over to the other side. So we're going to start to walk that right foot over towards the left. And then we're going to pick up the upper body and bring it up and over to the left as well. So now that we're feeling that compression through the left side and the opening through the right. Again, the arms can come wherever it feels comfortable. It doesn't have to mimic the same shape as the other side here, especially if you're working with imbalances. Like to cross that right ankle over the left if that feels good. We really want to keep the shoulder to the hip on that right side anchored. Long, slow, deep breaths. Picking up on where you're feeling maybe a little bit restricted, or a little bit tight, or congested. And then when you breathe with purpose and awareness and focus, just trust the process that whatever needs to be brought back into balance is moving towards that direction, even if you're not consciously feeling something shift in your body. Energy is always moving through us. As long as we are breathing and we are alive, energy is moving. It just gets blocked and congested at times. And it needs a little help just to be redirected. So I love to do this pose first thing in the morning when I'm still in bed. It is such a great way to just start to open so many areas of your body, your spine, your hips, your side body, your neck, your shoulders, even, for some of us, the IT band through the outside of the legs. I mean, it's such a beneficial shape. Even just this one pose, if that's all that you did as a practice in the morning and you breathed with awareness, that's such a great way to start your day or even end your day. I've actually fallen asleep in this pose at night in bed. Not recommended to fall asleep in it. So you want to try to stay, at least somewhat aware, or put a timer on so that it wakes you up if you fall asleep. Now that we are working through the right side of the body, can you start to pick up on whether you were tighter on the right or the left? So starting to notice when you work through shapes, where you feel more imbalance. That's a really crucial piece of information to have, because then you can stay longer on the side where you feel more tension. You don't have to hold the same length of time on both sides. In fact, it's rare that you would in your own practice. I mean, in a class, it's not feasible for me to offer that, but when you're practicing at home by yourself, at any time, feel free to pause a moment on the video if you're starting to notice that, you know, this side feels more blocked. I need more time. That's okay. I'm going to find 5 nice, slow, deep breaths. You're going to feel so light and spacious after this practice. It's one of my favorite sequences. On your next breath in, slowly start to transition yourself back towards the center of your mat, sliding those shoulder blades apart, uncrossing the legs if they were, taking those feet super wide again. Arms maybe down by your sides or resting again on the rib cage. And just notice how you feel here as you breathe. And then from here, we're going to make our way onto our belly. So if you want to just roll over, or you can bend the knees and kind of just start to roll yourself over from a fetal position. And you can take your props to the side. Just make sure that you have side room on either side of your mat. We're going to come into a half frog lateral position. So we're going to take the right knee and bring it up in line with the right hip. And then you're going to bring your right ankle in line with your right knee. And then, so I'm going the opposite as you guys. So it's just so that you can see me. Okay. So it's the right knee out, right foot is flexed. And then you're going to pick up your upper body and you're going to shift it over to the right side. Okay. And then you can stack hands if you like and just rest your forehead down or rest your right ear down. Or left ear down. You can also, if you're feeling a little tight, you could put a block underneath your forehead and just rest on that. And think about drawing that left hip down a little bit. You really want to anchor through the left side. Now your right hip is going to be slightly elevated because you're in that half frog position, but you're rooting through the opposite side here. And then you just melt the chest down. There is no effort here at all. You're just looking to feel sensation from the armpit down to the outer hip. And let the breath flow. I like to breathe with my awareness at the side body, so I can feel that expansion out and back in. I've also done this posture in bed as well. In fact, this entire sequence can be done in bed, first thing in the morning before you even get up. And of course, it can also be done at night as well. It's not an overly stimulating practice in terms of energizing you. Now, I will give you one little tidbit. So I have one of my patients at 11 o'clock at night, she's wired. Like she could clean her entire house, do laundry, do cartwheels down the hallway. Like she's full of beans, which is not what you're looking for at 11 o'clock at night. You're looking to unwind. And she asked me a few weeks ago, she's like, what's up with that? And I said, well, there's obviously an imbalance in your gallbladder meridian line. And she's like, why is that? How do you know? And I said, well, the gallbladder meridian line, its peak, its crest is between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. And even though there's a surge of energy running through that meridian line at that time, you should be winding down. And instead, she's in the opposite energy. So she's just full of beans. So I told her, I said, this would be a perfect time for you to do this practice because it's actually during meridian time for the gallbladder. Now, that's not always possible that we can practice during the crest times of each meridian. But if you ever find yourself waking at certain times of the night, check out my meridian body clock video on the website, and it defines each one of the times. And then you can start to practice so that you can bring some balance back into your body. All right, let's take one really nice big deep breath in and out. And then we're going to start to walk the chest back forward. Just release that right leg out. Bring the big toes to touch. And then just let your forehead rest on top of your hands. And take a couple of really deep breaths here. Again, just kind of noticing that side body and how it feels. Maybe just give the hips a little bit of a wiggle from side to side. Let's see if there's any kind of like congestion in through the lower back. And then let's come back up. Now I'm going the opposite so you guys can see me, but you're going to be drawing your left knee up in line with your left hip and your left ankle in line with your left knee. And then you're going to start to pick up the upper body and take it up and over to the right. And then again, you can stack hands, forehead rests. You can use a block. You could bring one ear down onto your hands. Just settling in here and just really letting that hip soften down. Now your back leg should be straight out from your hip. So if you just, if you peek up, just make sure that your back toes are in line with your back hip. Melting down here and just breathing into that side body. And equally noticing that breath that's traveling through the right and the left side of your body. See if you can start to pick up on maybe some space that's being created there, an opening. I mean, sometimes it's so subtle. You really have to be like really observant and really in tune. It's not always these big, huge aha releases. Often it's not. In every release, whether it's the most tiniest of ones or a larger one, it's all beautiful. It's all a gift, because it means you're getting rid of something that your body just doesn't want to hold on to anymore and that it doesn't need. No, the suitcase or the container of our body is not meant to be stuffed full and overflowing. It's meant to be spacious with just a few items in it, the best pieces. Have just about 40 seconds left here. Just a few more really deep breaths. And then on your next inhale, slowly start to make your way back to center. Releasing that left leg out, bring those big toes to touch again, forehead or one ear to the mat. Just taking a few really deep breaths. And then from here, if the forehead was turned to one side, just bring your forehead back down, slide your hands underneath your shoulders, and very slowly just lift up into a tabletop position. You're rooting your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. Okay, before we head to our next shape, we're just going to do a few rounds of cat and cow. So close the eyes first, draw the navel towards the spine, and then inhale, just slowly let the belly drop as the tailbone and the head curls up. And then exhale, round the spine, tuck the chin in. And then just start to move here at your own pace. If you're feeling quite stiff, go nice and slow. If you're feeling a little bit more spacious, you can go a little bit quicker just to generate some heat and energy into the body. The slower pace is a little bit more calming and sedative. So this in itself, I often tell my students, this is a great practice, cat and cow. If that was all that you did in a day, was just move your spine forwards and back. And if you did it with a really expansive inhale, you'd be bringing energy into your body. And if you did it with a really calming, slow and long exhale, it would be quite calming and sedative. So just doing it however you need, because when we move our spine this way, we're actually affecting our nervous system. Coming back to a flat back. Just going to shift your hips back to your heels. Slide on over to one hip. Take the legs out in front. We're going to make our way down onto our back. We're going to set up for a spinal twist. So have props close by you, just in the event that you want to use them for some support, just so they're within reach. Okay. Want to be down to about the center of your mat here, so you got some room above you, because we're going to be taking an arm variation with this as well. So first, just by bringing the knees and the feet together, feet are grounded, and then draw your shoulder blades apart again, like you're trying to walk your shoulders to the edges of your mat. Little draw of your navel to your spine. And then just to start with, you're going to goal post out your arms. Okay, so backs of the forearms, wrists, and elbows are grounded. You're going to pick up your hips and shift them to the left and let your knees fall to the right. Now they can be stacked. You could grab a block or a cushion or something and wedge it between your knees or under the bottom knee. If you're feeling more open, you could bind across the top leg over the bottom. And then once you're in this shape here, you're going to slide your right arm down towards your right knee. And maybe your left arm stays in that goalpost position, or maybe you start to walk your fingertips towards the top of your mat. But I still want you to keep the shoulder, the elbow, the forearm, and the back of the hand grounded. So if anything's lifting up, I want you to slide some sort of prop underneath there so that that whole arm is supported. And then maybe let your right ear actually roll to the right shoulder. So you have a little bit more space in through the side of your neck. And close the eyes. Start to breathe down the left side of your body, right into that gallbladder meridian line. Just find a pace to the breath that is smooth. It isn't too much effort. Feels at ease. You can really feel that expansion through that left side of your body. And the armpit area is often an area that is highly neglected in terms of stretch, but is so important to release. There's so many lymph nodes, and that is a chemical area of the body that holds a lot of toxins. And if you wear antiperspirant or a chemical-based deodorant, you clog those channels up even more. So this is just one way of actually helping to detoxify your armpits. Now, if you find at this point that your breath is flowing with considerable ease, so it's nice and smooth and soft, I invite you to actually pause at the very top of your inhale when you're full, so that you're really filling up your ribs and all those tiny little intercostal muscles between the ribs with this breath. This is one way of bringing in self-massage to your body. And not too many people ask for this area of the body to actually be massaged when they go to see their RMT. They can feel quite vulnerable having this area touched, but just by breathing deeply and holding the breath in, even if it's for 1 or 2 seconds, it can really go a long way at just clearing out the tension and congestion in that spot. So we're going to hold just a little bit longer to bring some energy into the body. But of course, feel free to listen to your body. If you need to modify or you need to come out because it's too intense, please respect what your body communicates with you. If there's any tingling that happens in your left fingers, release your arm, reposition it so that you're not cutting off any blood flow through the nerves. Think of the breath like a wave up through the side of your body. Relax your jaw. Relax the face. Let the eyes soften. If it's okay on the neck, start to let the head rotate so that the left ear rolls towards the left shoulder. If that's too intense, bring the head back to center. I'm going to take 3 really slow, deep breaths. And then if the head is tilted to the left, bring the head back to center. Take the left arm down towards the left side, and then very slowly come back onto the back. Realign everything back towards the center and pause. Keep the knees bent and the feet grounded. Now let's set up for the other side. Let's find that little goalpost position again with the arms. Let's bring the feet and the knees together. Let's start to shift the hips to the right. You're going to let your knees fall to the left. And this time, if you want to slide that left arm up, right arm down. Maybe tuck the right ear, or pardon me, the left ear down. Just really feeling grounded through your side body here as you start to breathe a little bit deeper, a little bit longer. Try to let the arms be as heavy as possible here. So bend them as much as you need to. You want to find that space. You want to feel the parts that are congested, that are tight, so that you can start to breathe into them. And I like to imagine like my side body is breathing into the earth and into the sky at the same time, so that there's that equal expansion through the side of the body. And if it feels okay to pause at the top of the breath in, see what it feels like to be completely full and suspending the breath, even for a second. Slow the breath down. Even if you feel an area of the body that is tight where breath can't physically go, just visualize it. Just visualize the kink in that spot, and then just visualize it unraveling. And 5 more slow, deep breaths. One more deep breath in, and send a long breath out. Slowly unravel yourself, come back onto your back, pause for a moment, just let everything realign. Notice how you feel. Again, maybe the hands come onto the ribs, just to notice where you might be feeling some space, where there's been some shift or change. Two more breaths here. And then for our next shape, it's actually going to be a bit of breath work. So you're welcome to stay on your back if you like. You're also welcome to come up and sit if you prefer. But we're going to actually bring our hands back onto our ribs. So fingers are facing forward and the thumbs are facing back. The elbows are out. If you're laying on your back, just make sure you're nice and comfy. If you want to cover yourself up with a blanket, put socks on. Just take a moment to really get comfortable here. And you're going to slide those shoulder blades apart once again. And now you're going to really focus on the inhale, the expansion out, that expansion into your hands. And then don't worry about the exhale. I mean, it's going to happen. But I want you to focus on breathing in and feeling that inhale. So feeling that filling up. You can pause at the top of the breath in and hold it in if that feels comfortable. If it doesn't, just let the exhale happen. So important to notice where your breath goes in your body. You're going to take 2 more breaths where you're noticing the expansion. So the inhale is what you're really focusing on. And then you're going to switch to noticing as you exhale. So that contraction in, that drawing in. Maybe even lengthening out and taking a little longer to breathe out, to exhale. It's like you're playing that accordion again. But how does it feel this time? Maybe a little easier. Maybe a little lighter. 3 more breaths here. After your 3rd breath, just let the hands relax in the lap. Just breathe at a normal, comfortable pace for you, in and out through the nose. And then before Shavasana, we're going to just finish off by balancing out the meridian system. So you're going to bring your index and 2nd finger onto the 3rd eye point using your right hand. You want to press there right at the brow line. And then you're going to take the palm of your left hand and place it on the top of your head. So if you were to trace a line from the top of your ear, walk your fingers up, land the palm of your hand there. So you'll feel like some little indentations, but then you'll also feel like the bones as well that are slightly risen up. And just breathe here at a normal pace that feels comfortable for you. Let the shoulders kind of relax. If you prefer to lie down for this, absolutely. And you don't need to press deeply here, just firm enough that you feel the contact of your palm and your fingers on these points. You take 2 more breaths. And then very slowly release the points. And you're welcome to either just sit in a meditation position if you like, or come into Shavasana laying on your back. Whatever resonates more with you. If you're sitting upright, the hands are just relaxed in the lap. If you're feeling a little chilled, feel free to just cover yourself up. Maybe put a blanket over top of you or wrap it around you. If you're resting on your back, again, just slide those shoulder blades apart. Arms are away from the side body. Let the breath go. There's nothing here for you to do. You're already receiving, even without awareness. Please feel free to take more time here. Allow your body to soak up whatever length of time it feels it needs in order for your practice to feel complete. Thanks so much for practicing today and for engaging in your own self-care and your own awareness of your body. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.